All right. Welcome to Cut the Sith Reading Club, Episode 5. We are an unofficial Star Wars reading club for fans by fans. I am your host, Colin McSorley. Today we will be discussing chapters 14 to 25 of Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. And I couldn't do the reading club by myself, so I'm going to present you the High Council, as they're going to not only help me discuss Master and Apprentice chapters 14 and 25, they're going to help me take down Yoda. Steve, you're up first.
Yeah, so lots of interesting stuff to unpack in this most recent couple of chapters. Very, very interested to hear everybody's takes in this.
Sierra.
Hey guys,
The
let's
Yoda
get rid of cancel culture. That's all I gotta say.
Ryan, are you there or are you eating dinner?
You want now?
Yes. Okay, Ryan, say hi to the people at home.
All right. Hello, people at home. This is what I really look like, by the way.
The dead woman. Looks at the end of the bed like a dog.
Yona, if you may.
I'm drinking that Yoda Kool-Aid. It's green. No. I'm interested to hear what everyone's thinking about the law and justice peacekeepers of the galaxy. Very loose.
There's one more intro, Colin.
I just said Alex.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I didn't hear it either.
My bad.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
Let's make no forms about it. We're going to war tonight. That's it.
So, who has the paperback copy of the book? I just want to know.
Oh, sorry.
I have the hardcover.
See, I don't know what page it would be on the hardcover because I know the exact page on the paperback.
Is this in chapter 25? Because I can find it.
You know what it is. It's the conversation between Qui-Gon and Yoda.
All right, yeah. Let's get to it then.
It's on page 277 in the paperback, specifically.
210 of the hardcover for those of you at home.
Who would like to read the passage?
Do you have to do the voices?
Are you talking about just the page, just from page 277,
I will tell you when.
or from earlier on?
Hold on. I would say, yeah.
275.
I would do the bottom of 276.
Okay. Start from
Where
there.
it says into Qui-Gon's mind. Start from there and then
Okay.
end it at like why do we exist on 277. So you're about to read Alex is gonna read an entire page, basically.
Why do we exist? Where's that?
That's on the bottom
before this
277.
happens, I gotta ask
Okay.
a group question.
All right, let's hear it.
I think it's a Dino
This couldn't wait till
De
after
Laurentiis
Yoda
film.
canceling
Just wait. Dino De Laurentiis. So Excalibur, Liam Neeson. Anyone else seen it from like 1980? All right, so as I'm reading this book, everyone at least should YouTube a clip of Liam Neeson.
We had
from this
one goal
movie.
tonight, Yona. One
Oh,
goal.
it's beautiful, and whenever I read this book, I don't see Qui-Gon Jinn. I see Liam Neeson in Excalibur.
You
Yeah.
specifically texted me today that you were going to remain quiet during this meeting because you have a
It's
headache.
an actually decent movie. Just
Put it in the
saying, it's
Discord.
an actually decent movie.
What do you say it's called? Excalibur?
Excalibur.
Don't check the
Yes,
Discord.
King Arthur's story. It's actually got a surprising amount. Patrick Stewart's in it. It's the most. It's a random medieval, beautiful soundtrack. Anyway, when I read this book, that's Liam Neeson. It's not Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, when I read this book, I hear Qui-Gon Jinn.
I hear Qui-Gon Jinn too.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yona, enough out of you until after we cancel Yoda. Alex,
Anyway, everyone should see it.
I'm going to mute you.
I'll look into it. Thank you.
Alex, read from Into Qui-Gon's Mind on 276 till Dangerous It Is Any Jedi on 277. That's like a whole page.
Oh, okay, at the end of the actual quote.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically their entire conversation about slavery.
All right. Into Qui-Gon's mind came the echo of Rahara Wick. What's the point of having the Republic in the first place? We should put an end to it, he said. Yoda shook his head. Not ours to decide. The fate of the treaty is. Sorry. Not the treaty, slavery. Qui-Gon folded his hands in front of him, allowing the robes to obscure them. The most formal way in which a Jedi could address another. Why do we allow this barbarism to flourish? The Republic could use its influence to promote abolition in countless systems where the practice flourishes. How can we fail to do this? Yoda remained silent for a few moments before saying, "Know of the planet Uro, do you? Devour their weakest children, they do. They're arachnids whose instincts are unstoppable. What of this?" When Qui-Gon shook his head no, Yoda said, "When their elderly grow too old to regenerate, beat them to death, the Abyssin do, to conserve their resources." Jesus. Qui-Gon's patience began to wear thin. This isn't about imposing human ethics on non-human species. This is something humans do to one another, an atrocity we should put an end to. We, not the Chancellor, not the Galactic Senate, not even the people of the Republic, but the Jedi. Yoda thumped his gimmer stick on the floor. Want to rule, do you? Dangerous this is in one who would join the council. Dangerous it is in any Jedi.
Okay, so what we can learn from here is Yoda is pro-slavery. Steve, talk shit about Yoda, please.
So the thing about Yoda is, like, I don't know if he's necessarily pro-slavery so much as he's just pro-maintaining status quo. I think he doesn't want to really shake things up too much because, I don't know.
Answer the question.
The whole thing is just very hypocritical. The whole purpose of the Jedi up until the Sith resurgence in Phantom Menace seems to be about intergalactic intervention in like very charged situations. So the fact that Qui-Gon is bringing up the idea of widespread intervention on a galactic scale, you know, to end something really horrible and that should be stopped everywhere, and for Yoda to just be like, no, like, let's not think about that right now. Like, that's pretty messed up, honestly.
Did he say grievous?
All right,
this
Sierra,
is?
defend Yoda.
He said grievous this is. Yoda agreed. He agreed. He does believe that slavery should be
But
ended. However, he doesn't feel
Yoda-
like it's his place.
It is his place. He's the Grand Master of the Jedi. He has the power to do
Yes.
this.
Okay. All right. You say that, right? Why are you guys giving Rael so much slack? He's the Lord Regent. He could have had way more input into this treaty than Yoda. Yoda just found out about this. This guy, Qui-Gon's calling him up in the middle of the night, like literally ranting, and he's just taking this in.
Oh.
And mind you, Yoda's like 800 years old, right?
I have Rael Averross is pro-slavery in my notes as well.
I know, but you guys aren't canceling him.
That's the thing.
I don't see
Rael
any
doesn't
cancel
Rael doesn't
Rael.
have any real power. He like
Does
advises
he?
the princess.
He could have had way more input in the treaty. He could
But
have.
Qui-Gon's thinking
But he-
beyond just Pajal.
Yes.
He's thinking the entire galaxy.
But is it
entire
dangerous
Republic.
to react right away? Is
Well-
it dangerous to? I mean, like he said,
Fair. That's true.
and to compare his power with kind of like, I understand I'm not pro-slavery. Okay, don't go there. Don't fucking put me in that
Can we
category.
all just make that very clear?
Hold on.
Yes.
Pause for a second. The official stance of Cut the Sith is that we are anti-slavery.
Okay, good. But I just don't agree with your opinion on canceling Yoda.
But
I just-
so here's the thing, because you said, is it like to react too soon or whatever? I actually forgot what you said because I got thrown off by your slavery comment. We would never talk about slavery on this show. Yoda, like Steve said, he's all about just keeping the status quo.
I understand that.
Like,
I understand his
he
stance.
He won't take any new ideas. He didn't want Qui-Gon on the council. He
But
doesn't
wait,
want to
wait.
listen
I'm
to his
going to
idea.
interrupt you, Colin.
He doesn't
New
agree with
trilogy.
slavery, though.
New trilogy. Wait, new trilogy. What does Yoda do? He burns all the books, man.
Oh yeah, the sequel trilogy.
So what happened?
Okay, and that's another thing. You can't
What
cancel someone
happened?
for their prequels. People change. Okay.
Uh,
Let's not go
He
into
changed
my
the
tweets
Jedi
when I was
felt.
15, okay? Like,
that's what
I
Jedi
don't
Cut
Seriously,
is all
though,
about.
what kind of switch is that?
It's like
something I have to call
I
out.
mean, he had to have everything taken away from him, though, before he actually started accepting new ideas and actually being willing to go about with meaningful change in the galaxy and entrusting the future to young people with bright, progressive ideas and grand ambitions and whatnot. That being said, it's kind of like what we were saying at the last session we had 2 weeks ago, where it's just like, you as the Jedi Order have all this power at your fingertips. You have the ability to tap into this living essence that connects every form of life in the galaxy. You have the ability to end conflicts, to inspire others, to do all this stuff. And then when Qui-Gon broaches the possibility of using the Republic and their resources to abolish slavery on a galactic scale, Yoda's just like, whoa, like let's not go too overboard here, and like, just goes right into whataboutisms and like, what about these people and how they devour their young, or how they beat up the elderly and whatnot. And then when Qui-Gon's like, obviously I'm not talking about, bringing human ethics upon non-humans. Like, this is a human construct that needs to be stopped. And then Yoda flat out goes into an ad hominem attack and is just like, oh, you must want to rule the Republic then. You must want to do all this, rather than like actually addressing directly the issue that Qui-Gon is trying to like raise. Like, it's just argumentative fallacy one after another with Yoda.
Yeah, anytime anyone brings any new idea that's different than just the status quo the Jedi have been on for the last 1,000 years. Oh, the dark side you will wield, or whatever Yoda says. They're always going to go to the dark side. Like, come on.
Yoda voice.
I think Yoda, he's not pro-slavery. He should do something about it, and he's not doing something about it. That's his problem. But he's been around for so long, I think he thinks it's not his place. And I mean, I'm comparing it to our world that we live in today, where we kind of, in the past, America, have, put ourselves into situations where we think we're actually making another country better, or just things that aren't it's not our place, And I think him as a person or a species, whatever, he's a good person. He's not pro-slavery, but I think it's bound to happen. I think at this time period, he's going to realize that he needs to act. He does have to act. And I think that he's very, he's not doing what he can, but at the same time, I don't know, just from the past before, he's just hesitant to do something. He has to think it through, meditate a little more. I don't know.
But you can see why, just like with Yoda's stubbornness. Well, I can see why Yoda's stubbornness. Someone like.
But slavery
Chancellor
doesn't only
Palpatine.
exist in Pijal,
This
right?
isn't
It doesn't
just about
only
slavery. This is the overall just about the
but in this
complacency of Yoda
instance,
and
in
the
this
Jedi.
chapter, we're talking about Pijal, of how Qui-Gon is saying, I can't end slavery, but I can do something about Pijal. Just like Rael could have. He reacted like, I don't give a fuck. This treaty has to be signed. I don't care. Shut up. And I think Rael could have done way more than Yoda in this situation.
In this instance, I don't disagree with you. To an extent, giving Yoda the complete benefit of the doubt.
Oh my god, I love cancel Yoda and Rael. Sorry,
They both have it coming now at this.
Yeah,
You brought up a very good point. Now they both have it coming. So you were right. We were focusing a little too heavy. The hate needs to be split 50-50.
Okay, cool.
But no, and I understand some of Yoda's points. I get it that as Jedi, they're essentially Switzerland. Complete and total neutrality. That's it. If you want to come bank here, let's do it, brother. But they're not. His view is with those types of matters, they shouldn't be getting involved. But I'm sorry, in actuality, at the end of the day, let's outright say it: the Jedi are superheroes. And let's quote dearest Uncle Ben, rest in peace. With great power comes great responsibility. And sitting there, and now that he even knows that the treaty is horrid and that it gives Zerka Corporation this inordinate amount of power forever, not just for, a few terms and we can negotiate later on when, a new regime comes in. It's like, nah, Zerka is the regime. But I forget exactly where it is, and as we go further into it, I'll skim through my notes and all that type of stuff. But
I have a question for you guys, though. What do you guys want? How would you want Yoda to react after hearing this information?
Save the universe for person.
Okay.
Save the galaxy.
Not brush.
So do you think he
Qui-Gon
really
off.
could just by himself, or
It's
just
not
the
even.
Jedi
It's
alone?
not even what he can do. It's just listening.
He said he'll talk
Exactly.
to Kaj.
He brushes Qui-Gon off. Like Steve
Okay.
said, he uses whataboutism. He then starts going on about how when Qui-Gon brings up that they have the power to stop it, he starts talking about it's a dangerous path, alluding towards Qui-Gon wanting to rule the galaxy or the Jedi rule the galaxy.
It's a
And
little,
like,
yeah, you're straight.
it's like, no, Yoda. Sometimes you can do good without ruling the galaxy. You can stop slavery and not put yourself as the dictators. It's not a path to the dark side to take a stand on something. And it's
And
just he
that's
won't
one
listen
thing.
to outside opinions. He's
That's one thing
I
I was
agree.
surprised by
Steve
with
has- hold on,
Yoda's
Steve has a
whole
quote.
stance
No, Yana
on
can
it.
finish.
With Yoda's whole stance on it, the idea that he didn't bring in the force of, any kind of balance, at least unless I missed it, but it was just straight up, no, we're not doing this. There was no left, right, anything like that.
And to go even further, what I was going to say is somewhere in one of the chapters, I boiled it down a little bit to one of my notes. Yoda was essentially telling Qui-Gon, listen, don't screw this up. We need this hyperspace lane. And to an extent, fine. You want to sit there and one of us play devil's advocate with Sierra? Yeah, a hyperspace lane is always needed. Let's not sit here and say otherwise. But at the cost of full and total enslavement, and the thing that even got me a little bit in the book, and even for a second-time reader and all that type of stuff, it's not only you're enslaved. If you fall in love during your enslavement and you unfortunately have a kid,
Yeah.
now they are property
That's
of
terrible.
the
It's
corporation.
the penal,
Okay,
the penal
so,
slavery
hold on.
system.
Steve's been trying to say something for a while now, so I'm just gonna let him talk.
Okay. So I'm going to bring up the quote from Count Dooku from the Book of Sith that I always love to refer to
The
here.
best Jedi.
The Jedi Order's problem is Yoda. No being can wield that kind of power for centuries without becoming complacent at best or corrupt at worst. He has no idea that it's overtaken him. He no longer sees all the little cumulative evils that the Republic tolerates and fosters, from slavery to endless wars. And he never asks, why are we not acting to stop this? Live alongside corruption for too long, you no longer notice the stench.
Wow, sounds like Dooku's a smart guy.
100% agree with that. Dooku and Yoda, because of this whole situation, I've been looking into it more because I don't know a lot about Count Dooku, but it's just crazy. I don't know.
It's like, listen,
But he's got to learn, right? I mean, after Dooku, it's been a lot of more people that have been kind of opposing him or standing up for what they believe in and challenging Yoda.
Maybe he's just not used to people challenging him in this
Yeah.
capacity.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Honestly, he probably hasn't been challenged since he was like a youngling.
Since he was 100.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe High Republic is going to joss our headcanon or anything like that here. But I just get the impression that Yoda was kind of like a prodigy from a very early age, but he's very stuck in his ways. You know, and I'm curious to see how High Republic is going to characterize him, because he'll have been alive 500 years before Phantom Menace. So I don't know. We'll see.
500
What if he's
years?
still the Grand Master back then? Oh,
I hope not.
I don't think that
they
was
need
like
term
there
limits.
yet.
Only 500 years. Only 500 years. Then it has
And
to
also,
go to
just
someone
to
else.
correct you on that, Steve, High Republic's 200 years with Phantom Menace, so he'd be 700 years old.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
As a
Sorry.
kid, the Luke Skywalker action figure with the Yoda backpack,
Mm-hmm.
my favorite. Throw
Okay,
some G.I. Joe guns in there, a couple
So-
lightsabers.
it's been alluded to a few times.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the governance treaty and how Zerka basically wrote it to give themselves full control. And nobody noticed.
Circa. Cancel
Except for
them
Qui-Gon.
too. Cancel
Yeah.
them too.
Circa needs to be canceled. Absolutely.
Mhm.
They're in charge of the Pijali penal system. That's insane.
Yeah.
It's like not only you're giving them full range to mine wherever the F they want, completely falsify population records for the Pijali moon. It's just like, and on top of that, you're giving them the penal system?
Also, I just want to say,
It's
I don't want to age shame, but why is this decision left to a 6-year-old?
well, it's not.
She has to
Right.
sign off on. She has to sign off on it. That's
Yeah.
why they're all
Yeah,
trying to kill her.
Now, before they switch over to, more of a parliamentary republic type.
Why having a 6-year-old sign off on some document that she has no idea what's in this document?
She,
I
and
don't
then
know if
she's
she's ever
just gonna
read
be
it.
the
She's not
face
sketchy.
of Pajal. She's not even gonna rule. She's just the face.
And I'm not
It's
gonna
like-
lie, I think Rael has a thing for her, which is a little creepy.
Stop! No,
He's
no.
gonna die. He's dying. That's what's happening in this book. He's getting
Any-
killed.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure Rail's
At this point,
yeah.
it's like
well,
he's
I mean,
so
it's not even a
blind.
hard decision to come to because every Jedi basically is gonna be who's not in anything in the future is probably dead.
Well, I feel like Rael's gonna eat it. It's gonna be a moment for Qui-Gon that's gonna.
How about we find out Qui-Gon was in love at one point?
That's right. Rail
Yeah.
does bring it up.
That
again.
was
Get him to-
crazy, like
Yeah.
detail.
I'm stoked that they brought that up.
Apprentice like master. I mean, Obi-Wan was in love at 1.2.
That. And can we just talk about the super quick elephant in the room when we can go right back to the governance treaty, I swear, but I just saw it in my notes and it's got to be brought up.
What chapter
We
was it?
brought
What chapter is it? 'Cause I got my notes are very detailed for this one because I want to go at everybody.
Can
I
we
should
talk
start
about-
keeping notes.
Can we talk about Rail and the bar wench
I thought she was the
Qui-Gon
angry
the
one, yeah.
cock-block?
real quick?
Stop
Qui-Gon
Because they
the
bring up a good
cock-block.
philosophical question.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
I like that they kind of went to odds with one another, Qui-Gon and Rail right there over, following the spirit of the law as opposed to, the actual letter of the law.
Those two seem like they're like, oh, we're good friends, we're good old friends, but secretly hate each other.
Now,
Honestly.
Steve, we had a conversation that kind of alludes to them just talking about like following the spirit instead of the letter of the law. Why is it that everyone from the Yoda tree does not follow the law of the Jedi to a T?
You mean in
Wait,
terms
he-
of
He trained Dooku.
He
Dooku
trains
trained
everyone,
Raylan
though.
Qui-Gon, and all of them are just
Did he train Mace Windu or no?
they're all mavericks.
I don't know that he trained Mace Windu, but he
I don't know
trained
about that.
Dooku, and Dooku trained Rael, and Dooku also trained Qui-Gon. And so
Dooku and Rael both leave the Order. Qui-Gon has all these radical ideas. Well, didn't
I don't know.
mean, Yoda.
I think it's a generation thing. It's generational. You know how like we have millennials and whatever. It's through time. It's
Mhm.
through time that it was bound to happen. The prophecies are being played out for a reason. It's just like, to me, it's just the timing. Yoda can't learn in 500 years. Like he's gonna learn now.
right.
That's what I
Um,
think.
And I mean, the other thing too, I think that it's providence almost that Qui-Gon got paired up with a master that was super into the prophecies and
Mhm.
super into, premonitions and learning more about the future and what's to come for the Order and whatnot. So I don't know. It's just interesting that these two kind of got paired together and that they both learned from each other and learned for themselves as well. And sort of what all these, ideas of what could the future bring, and to an extent, the fear of what the future could bring, how it drew these two men into like completely different directions. Like Dooku wound up defecting altogether and abandoning his cause because, he foresaw that the Jedi didn't have what it took to maintain control and that they'd lost their way. And Qui-Gon decided to try and, I'm sure we're going to get more definitive insight into Qui-Gon's thought process at the end of this book. But in Phantom Menace, at least, he seemed to be taking a very proactive stance of like, we need to abide by these prophecies. Anakin came to us for a reason. We need to take advantage of this here, and we need to try and show him our way. And had Qui-Gon survived and actually mentored Anakin, it might have mattered and like made a humongous impact in Anakin's life, and it might have greatly impacted the sort of man he grew up to be. Instead, Qui-Gon dies and Anakin gets stuck with Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's such a stickler and he's so by the book that Anakin probably can't really help but rebel and become a little bit of a punk and have a little bit of an attitude and a chip on his shoulder because you don't have Qui-Gon there to talk to him about the magnitude of the prophecy, why it's so important, how he can't let this get to his head, and how he's obviously destined for great things, but he's got to keep some air of humility. I'm losing track of where I'm going with this rant here, so anyone
I guess
jump in at any point in time.
Good info.
So
Oh,
I liked how at first, because Dooku had studied the prophecies, he was against Qui-Gon studying them, but then he was like, he knew that Qui-Gon was going to study them anyways, and Dooku was like, well, if you're going to study them, do it with me, and I'll teach you about them properly. And I hope that in the rest of the book, we get more of like those like flashbacks of the past of Dooku and Qui-Gon going over the prophecies, because those are some of my favorite scenes with the
Me
in the
too.
past.
Yeah. But Steve, I think the last meeting you mentioned Qui-Gon in Phantom Menace and how when he met, is it the same episode? I don't know. But when he met Anakin and he was just like, are you here to free us? He's like, no. Like clearly like nonchalantly, no. So to me, I feel a certain way of
slavery.
Exactly. This was, he was so anti-slavery. We got to do something about it. We see him in this movie and he's just like, no, we're not here. So what the fuck? Yeah. So is Yoda? So can you blame Yoda if he's been around for like thousands of years?
Of the Jedi.
I'm just saying something happened, man. Where that causes this.
They all listen to Yoda.
You've got to wonder if some of that idealism kind of gets like ground out of him after a while, and he's just kind of like, well, I can't really fight this or anything like that because I don't have the power to make this change. I'm curious to see how, given that he was invited to join the council at the very start of this book, knowing in the Phantom Menace that he will not, accept the offer. But, I got to wonder how that's going to wrap up, how it's going to demonstrate the state of their relationship, meaning Qui-Gon and the council at the end of this book, and like how that's going to set the stage for Qui-Gon's development in the Phantom Menace, and how, here's someone who once had ideas to, abolish slavery on a galactic scale versus now being like, oh, well, I can only really save one person, but I can't
exactly
save two.
What happened?
I hope that when Qui-Gon eventually turns down the council, it's for more than just, I like Obi-Wan and I want him as my Padawan. I hope there's a deeper meaning behind it.
Yeah. I absolutely hope that he chews the council out and that he like gives them what for. I don't know if we're going to see that happen.
Yoda is a good enough reason. He's just like, I don't want to be part of this like boys club. Are there any females in the council this time? I know Balaba joins it at some point. I'm not sure if she's on it at this point. But
I want to say that Ada Gallia is probably on the council at that point. Yaddle's probably on the council at that point.
I keep forgetting about
Yaddle. How could anyone forget about Yaddle?
Maybe Yoda's mom.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
Okay, so how you guys feel about the revelation that the opposition is being set up and they don't even know how to hold a blaster?
What a spin.
The
That-
timing though, like right place, right time.
I kind of liked that whole scene though, not only because of the whole, especially when Halen Azuka shows up and she's just like, why are we being threatened?
That's how I saw it. Yeah.
I would.
Well,
I
yeah,
know
I saw it as Jar Jar Binks saying that. That's what I saw. That's what I read, I should say. It's just like Jar Jar showing up being like,
Misa.
like
honestly-
straight
No
up,
criminal?
it wasn't us. Are you kidding me?
But I loved that whole scene, and especially
no,
like the
princess.
whole introduction of the Black Guard, and now it makes sense that mysterious, shadowy figured man who was there. And
How
I
scary was the shield though?
yeah,
Yeah,
That
that
was
was pretty
scary.
intense. Yeah.
with those cool, those fake crystals.
So,
Yeah.
so was that confirmed that it was the
Oh, I don't know
Colin
if it's-
crystals?
yeah, the
I don't
whole
think
The
it's
Colin
been confirmed,
crystals.
but it's like it is their theory, right? That is, they think it's.
Yeah.
those are
think-
powering
yeah.
those anti-lightsabers.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's been actually confirmed yet.
Is
So who on the inner circles in the Black Guard? Who's the traitor?
yeah, I know.
It's
And why are they
Darren,
going
isn't it?
into the caves?
Definitely
Like, why are
Darren.
they going?
They're going into caves. They think they're
Just
going
to
into the
get the-
caves to get the crystals.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's why they think the crystals are powering the shields, because it's a reason why they be going into all those caves, because they're raiding them for the crystals.
okay.
And even further on that part, our good dude Pax.
Oh my
Screwing
god, I
Circle
love
Corp
him.
Out of some good money. Out of some good money.
I gotta say, the way that Pax grew up into a stable adult being raised by 83 protocol droids, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you don't just like
I love him. Yeah.
drive
Me and
your
my
ship
83 mom and
into a
dad here.
mountain,
Yeah.
like 83 protocol droids raising you. I don't know. I
Especially
couldn't do
it's like
that.
if one of them becomes argumentative, like can you just imagine? And especially that's why I guess I love the audiobook so much, is because like they go into like the 3PO voice and everything, and all of a sudden like that one little back and forth that like G3PO and one of the other ones had, it's just like, oh man, 15 years.
It explained a lot.
Years.
I want to
Explained a
know
lot. Yeah.
what the rest of their names are, because there was
G3PO.
G3PO, B3PO, Z3PO. There's only 26 letters, but there's 83 of them. So it's like
So there's already a C3PO, so you can't
Yeah.
have another C3PO in there. I don't think. I don't know.
yeah. Or 000. Can't have
I
him.
love that he
I
bought
love
Rahara
that.
gloves. That was so cute.
Mhm.
Like fancy gloves. That was cute.
It's
I actually
also
have a scar here.
Mhm.
Could be a slavery scar. I don't know.
Oh, are you an ex-slave? Then why are you so pro?
My brother burnt me when I was a kid.
Oh, jeez.
actually it was assault and battery.
Ooh.
But
Yeah, so I was just like, I wish I had gloves when I was a kid. I'm kidding.
But I also like how they show with like even Pax, who's probably as close to a droid as a flesh human being can get. Like even him on board of the Zerka ship right before he met Call, I think Madam Gray did a very good job of like really honing on the fact that he wasn't only disturbed by the slavery, but it was the fact that there were so many kids
That was so
working
sad,
everything
dude.
and running from here to there. It's I like the fact that at some points in this book, yeah, they do kind of, the Miss Gray doesn't really pull a lot of punches when she's getting behind, the severity of, slavery and the fact that, I jotted it down right here. Rahara cut the tracking beacon out of her hand with a hot knife. It's
The moment she could, she was just like, and ran for it. Yeah.
But I did really like that, and my thing too. And not even because I've read the book before. It's just like going back to the opposition a little bit is that the attacks are so hot and cold. They blow up a balloon that essentially says F Zerka, and then they're turning around trying to murder Princess Fanry by tampering with the crab bot. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, maybe there's two different cliques in there, like regular NWO and then red NWO, but I don't know.
No, I
I
don't.
like that Qui-Gon is kind of, being a little bit more critical than Rael is about this, because Rael is, just bring me Azaka's head and let's sign this dang treaty.
Yeah,
And they were
well,
giggling when they were like, "Oh, the balloon went up! Yay!"
Yeah.
Like, that was hilarious.
so Rael never actually meets the opposition. It was just Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. So he doesn't see what Qui-Gon sees. But if you, it's like they're walking around, they don't know how to hold their blasters. So he's like, these people have never been in a fight. They've never shot a weapon before. It's just, and talking with them, you can tell they're just a bunch of political pranksters trying to like bring about their like political movement. But there's like they're
Rael is a Jedi too, though.
but he never met them, so he doesn't know how to sense it.
But still,
He's
you
dying.
can see the.
But is he also? Is he?
Jim's killing him.
Is he
Jim's killing him.
still technically a Jedi? I mean, he left and became the Regent. He doesn't care about the Jedi Order. He's off with his bar wenches.
I was gonna agree with you 1,000%.
He's a Jedi in name only at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, you say that,
exactly.
but they did have some flashbacks of him when he's talking to Qui-Gon about maybe how Qui-Gon perceives him, or and analyzing the reaction that Qui-Gon is like, oh, maybe he's not thinking about Nim, or am I hallucinating? Like he still has that in him.
I get what you're saying, especially, he shows a lot of love toward Fanry, regardless of how any of us feel about him and her.
The creepiness.
I don't want to think that.
I'm not saying it's like that. I'm saying, I don't know. He might be trying to use her for his own little political advantages. We don't know if he has
like Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of
oh my god, is she Sansa?
Some skin in the game.
She might be.
But not too much skin that if he gets
wait till she turns 18, marry her, she mysteriously dies, and it's like, oh hey, I rule this place now.
Yeah, it kind of seems like, Rael is really hiding behind the shield of, well, I'm just following the spirit of this, and everything I'm doing is for Fanry. And it's just like, even that alone goes against Jedi code, because you're not supposed to put from what I surmise, and I don't know, maybe people disagree with me, is you're not really supposed to be putting the individual before the greater good of everybody else.
Exactly, yeah.
It was the same problem that Rael had with Nimue, Nimpiana. It's he put her before everybody else and essentially tried to, long story short, damn the crew, just for her. And in the end, she ended up dying. So, essentially it was all for nothing. And the other little thing too, just because spot up real quick, is what do you guys think about the slicer dart outside of Fanry's window? Because that kind of entails that whoever is doing this seems to be pretty close.
Well, yeah,
because the opposition, definitely.
The only person that could have reprogrammed the crab droid was someone in their inner circle. So I think it's Darren. I think it's Darren.
You do?
Of course. Because the one thing they said about him was like, oh, well, we can trust him. And I'm like, oh, well, the second you said I don't trust him.
Wait, I'm gonna throw this into the ether.
That's what I felt. I was like, okay, he's cool, but maybe you're right.
It was Yoda.
It definitely was Yoda.
Like straight up.
No.
Listen, the Yoda is over party is currently over. Well,
just really threw a wrench into the system.
Well, hey, man, honestly, to an extent, at least when it's coming to this treaty, you're not necessarily wrong, because, correct me, guys, but isn't it in the treaty when Obi-Wan is further explaining it to Qui-Gon that he essentially says, regardless of whom the regime is, nothing matters. As soon as Fanry puts, her John Hancock down on the dotted line, that's it. Zerka Corporation has bolted down. They're in charge.
And
yeah,
it's
they
beyond
have that
amendment.
saying.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I was trying to get to, is like, even down the road, if you start to get a little pissy with them, you better have your blasters ready. That's that.
Like, tough. That's the law. Yeah. So here's the question I'm wondering about, just to sort of get on a completely different note. Earlier on in the book, Fanry and Obi-Wan are talking a little bit about it's really rare for a Jedi to cross sabers with one another. Usually you only have that in sparring. You don't really see a Jedi cross blades with another Jedi with intent to kill or anything like that. And the Sith have been gone for millennia. Do you think that Rael and Qui-Gon are going to throw hands at the end of this book and that they're going to have to fight each other? I do too. Cool.
Those
I want to hear
dreams-
everybody's thoughts on this. Yeah.
Qui-Gon's dreams? Oh, it's like so incomplete, but it seems like something's going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I didn't think of it before till you mentioned Steve, but now I'm 100% on that. They're going to go at it.
They're going to throw down.
I think
It's
whatever
not crazy
happens
to
in
think.
the dream, it's going to lead to Qui-Gon and Rael just having a straight up duel.
Crazy.
I'm here for it. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
hold on, we don't even know who the bad guys are at this point, so we don't even know who he'd be pulling a lightsaber on. And honestly, a bunch of people in black cloaks. I don't think he needs a lightsaber against these people. He's gonna need it against another Jedi.
And the other thing too
Fallen
is,
Jedi, yeah.
part of his dream was
Great Jedi.
from the earlier chapters is Qui-Gon said, there was clearly a saber that he didn't recognize because he didn't say it was his lightsaber across Fanry's face in his dream. He said that it was a saber. And, dream or no dream, I think a Jedi would recognize his own saber or a saber he's at least been in close proximity to at some point.
So it wouldn't be Obi-Wan's then in that case either. And, I mean, we've heard very little about what Rael's blade looked like, I guess, right? Unless I'm misremembering something. So, I don't know.
It doesn't specify, I don't think.
Ryan, you here?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I know you're back from dinner. Add something. Tell us something. Anything.
Ryan, you got to get a goddamn camera, man.
Dinner was pretty good.
Let's hear
Ryan
your
has
hot
a
takes.
camera. He told me he doesn't use it because he doesn't want the government to spy on him.
I don't have a camera. I told you it was back ordered for 3 months, and then I just canceled the order.
What? Get
I have
another
a
camera.
You can use mine.
I don't want to use yours. It's used. I don't know what you do with it.
Ryan is the
My
mysterious
OnlyFans page. All right,
So we
Ryan.
should do, there will be one
What
episode
do you
where it's a
want?
Ryan reveal.
Yeah, just
Hold on,
Ryan
Ryan.
against everyone.
I know what he looks like. It's
Ryan.
not really worth it. Ryan,
Mean?
That's
I
rude.
know what he looks like too.
Hey, I
How
know what
about-
you look like.
Ryan, just give us any of your thoughts on the book at all. You've been very quiet.
I think that living with
Um,
a lot of experiences with them,
it's good.
Did you read it?
I did.
All right. I'm gonna take his word for it. Ryan is a special type of person.
I'm very quiet.
Bedroom at the very end of the hall.
Well, you're here.
I saw them getting in the
I don't add much to a discussion.
Ryan, what are your thoughts on the governance treaty?
I don't like treaties in general.
Same.
It's an obvious trap.
There's a dead woman here.
Definitely.
I picture Ryan with like a holocron, a beer, and a sandwich, just sitting there like, you guys.
I know he has a
No
holocron
idea.
and a sandwich on him right now.
I will not confirm or deny.
I mean, we bought those holocrons together.
We did. We went a little bit crazy buying every crystal, but it was worth it.
Yeah, and you just wait. Those holocrons are going to be the prizes in the trivia contest. Ryan is
I'm not
upset
giving
at the
anyone
prizes because he owns everything that I've already mentioned. But I'm like, not my fault you bought everything. I'm not
I
gonna.
mean, Ryan, if you win, you
How
can just donate that to another member of the council.
Yeah, like Steve, who can't be at the contest. Do you
How
wanna
could
play
I not buy everything?
Fair. So what do you guys what did you guys think about first off, let's give a big shout out to the Baractals.
Oh yeah,
Our
Yeah.
dearest.
God,
I
yeah.
googled what those look like. They look cool.
Yeah.
I love those things, especially when episode 3 came out. I mean, I guess
Hold
I can't
on.
remember how.
Hold on, they did in like 3 pages made me care way more about those Varactals than the things that they use in Avatar with their hair.
Oh
What
my
were those
God.
things called?
I have no idea what anything in Avatar is called.
All I know is that they're blue.
Yep,
Something unobtainium. That's like all I remember from Avatar.
those are the calling crystals. It's unobtainium.
But
But Obi-Wan and his Varactyl just getting a special bond right off the start. I was like, finally
I love
something's
that.
going good for Obi-Wan.
He rolled really well on his animal handling save there.
as much shit as I talk about Obi-Wan just being a stickler for the rules, the fact that he's such a stickler for rules, he's way too much in his own head, overthinking things. And it's like, I'm glad that his Fractal and him just have this nice relationship, and the Grand Hunt kind of worked out with him until like the crab droid turned on Fanry. It was good.
That was a nice section, though, him bonding with the Fractal and, you know, kind of showing and demonstrating like the kinship that Jedi have with all living things, including like animals or mounts or whatever. So I don't know. I liked it. It was a good callback to Revenge of the Sith.
I like that too.
His mount in Revenge of the Sith.
Except for when Qui-Gon was thanking every single tree he touched, I was just like, stop. Were you guys kind of like, what the hell? Thank you.
No.
I don't know. It was just, to me, a little bit
Qui-Gon's
exaggerated.
What the hell?
He's a
I
hit.
get
What do you
it.
expect?
It should be like,
As he's Jedi. He feels bad.
I know, but
He's down. He wants to heal them. He's
Well,
a
clearly Yoda's
herbologist.
fucked up. No.
Also, can
feel
I
like
just say,
they know. Like, they could feel it. He doesn't have to actually, like, I don't know. It
how
was
are
a little
Jedi
extreme.
having so much trouble getting out of a sinkhole?
Have you ever been in a sinkhole?
I don't have the Force, Ryan.
That's
I
my
don't have
dude.
the Force.
But hey, when you're being fired on, I'm sure it's a bit of a different story.
I don't
Though
know.
the one little
I don't know.
tiff I'll take with it is I didn't really like that. It's like I get why they did it, but I didn't really like that all of a sudden Hayla, Zucca, and the rest of the Carnies are, Ric Flair walking over, barely able
Carnies.
to hold their lightsabers, and
Yep.
the Black Guard is just like, oh no, let's run.
Yeah, they don't know
Yeah,
how to
they
hold
ran
their
away
weapons.
from
They don't
them.
know how to use them. The black guy's like, all right. Well, the black guy can't frame them if they kill them.
True, no, and that's why I understand it. But that was my biggest snafu with this section, I guess, is just like I was like, Carney show up and ruin it.
I hope this ends with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan just taking one of the opposition's plays. Come on, you want to see all the stuff they got for being framed for these crimes? I want to see them put on a nice performance to celebrate, hopefully, the end of slavery or the destruction of Zarka.
I want to see whoever in the opposition portrays Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and I want to see what meticulous notes Obi-Wan would have on their portrayal of him and how inaccurate it is.
Oh, it's gonna be like in what was it, Thor Ragnarok, when Matt Damon played Loki.
Yes, that's literally what I was picturing. Or the one part in Avatar when they had the play in Avatar.
Didn't they do it in Game of
the
Thrones
good Avatar?
too? With Joffrey's death, they had that play.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
so wait,
they did.
real quick.
Mhm.
What's everyone's favorite Star Wars movie? Sorry if this is on
Episode
Discord.
3. It is on Discord. Just saying.
Well, fuck you, Colin. No, but
No,
what
it's
for
not.
everyone else while we're doing this?
Are we gonna do top 3 or like?
No, let's just do top number one.
All-time favorites.
All-time favorite. Okay, I'll let someone else go first.
Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. That was easy, Steve. I know what yours is. It's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, Empire Strikes Back is the perfect Star Wars movie. So
And I'd say Return of the Jedi for me.
I'm undecided.
Come on, Sierra.
I'm undecided.
Sierra,
Give
you have
us
one kid, so
something.
you know what it's like to have a favorite child, have a favorite movie.
I don't like picking favorites.
Alex,
I'm gonna say episode 1.
nice. Ryan,
Ryan,
Rogue One.
nice.
Hey,
Sierra,
I like the movie without main characters in it.
that's I
the best
appreciate
character
that.
in all of Star Wars shows up in that movie, and that's the best scene.
I don't remember Lando being in it.
I was talking about Cassian Andor.
Vader was in it though.
He was awesome. We can talk about
Sierra,
awesome Vaders
Come
all day.
come on, Sierra.
I'm not gonna make a decision.
Listen, this meeting we will not discuss any more of this book until you make a decision.
I'm gonna believe
Yeah.
Sierra's
put a pin
thinking
in
the
that.
Christmas special. That's what
Oh,
Sierra's
Alex?
thinking.
If it wasn't for COVID, Alex wanted to have us all over around Christmas time to watch it together at his house.
The
Aww.
Christmas special.
But we gotta find out. We could probably do that online and stream because I've seen people watch things and they'll stream themselves
Twitch,
on.
you could
Yeah,
do it.
Say,
and you
like,
can do it, and you set like, and you don't show the movie, but you set like a timer so people watching can like sync their time up to your time, so you're all in the same
So
part.
it's like Mystery Science Theater kind of.
Yeah, and we just all watch and just crap on it. It's exactly like that, actually, Steve.
So what do you what do you
Alex,
guys
back on topic?
what do you guys what do you guys think is going to come of the treaty? Do you think
Not great stuff.
do you think do you ultimately think that they're in, I'm not going to say non-Star Wars fashion, that they come to an agreement about stuff, or do you think this is going to divulge into an absolute shit show? See you next Tuesday.
I'm hoping it's a shit show.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's gonna be a big assassination attempt right before he's about to sign.
What do you
I'm not
guys
gonna
think
say
of Fanry as a kid?
Oh, she's fucked.
She's annoying.
She's annoying too. When
Yeah.
she started
It's a
saying like,
nerd.
"So you never fought someone else with the lightsaber," I was just like, "Fuck off!" Like I don't know. I was just like annoyed.
He's got sociopathic tendencies.
Am I allowed to hate a 6-year-old?
Thank you.
She's pretty bloodthirsty, yeah.
Yeah, let's even Obi-Wan brings it up at one point, because I don't like Fanry. I put her up there right with the Carnies.
I put it right up there with Vidian.
Damn straight.
I like Vidian still, but
Vidian was a cool villain.
We
Fanry's
talked about this last time. This I'm gonna pronounce this horribly wrong, but Sazerac, whatever, that
Circa?
corporation,
Circa.
Circa.
Circa, was invented for this book, right?
No, they were Knights of the Old Republic, right?
Yeah, so
They've been around for a while.
technically they were in like old canon, but they were in.
Oh, okay. All right.
This is the first thing in the Disney canon they're in, I believe.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Okay.
So is
Yes.
this a corporation that moving forward Disney could actually latch onto and say like, okay, they're gonna take over the universe and replace, the Imperials? Huh?
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not too far off.
No, I mean, they even say it in the book, a lot of people bring up the fact that Zerka Corp predates the Senate itself.
You're right.
I kind of look at Zerka kind of like, I don't know if any of you guys are history.
Amazon.
Well, yeah, but to go even further, like the East Indian Trading Company,
Yeah.
like the Dutch back in the heyday of the slave trade. They're on the cutting edge of it.
The
They're the
Yoda
number
trade.
ones of it.
If we're talking about them, I mean, let me just drop a little bit of this on you. In Legends KOTOR, they are slavers on Kashyyyk, and you help overthrow them when you go there in KOTOR.
Are they in the first or second one?
First and second.
Oh.
Because I was going to say, that's where I initially knew them from, is essentially, seedy slavers. So I figured, especially the moment they showed up here, it doesn't matter that they're dressed up pretty. A pig with lipstick is still a pig at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah, and also, why is everyone just cool with like, oh, just because this person's under a long prison sentence, it's totally fine to just let him be a slave for life and all his like descendants to be slaves for life just because this guy was in prison for maybe like 15 years.
Makes no sense to me.
They're
I
really,
know. But I mean, in America, there are people that are in prison that are basically slaves.
yeah.
It's part of the 13th Amendment, so. And not their children, but that's thankfully not their children, but.
Well, in our world. But no, and honestly, that's like, I kind of like that they really hone in on that, and especially with Rahara. Anytime Zerka's brought up, she essentially tenses and tightens. But
Was there in this group of chapters, or was it for the first meeting where they talked about like slaves and Jedi base, where like Pax was like they're basically the same because you don't get to choose where you're going. Yeah, Pax referred to the Jedi as baby nappers.
Oh, he
Yes.
did. I was like, whoa, is he part
I
of Cut
remember
the Sith?
that, yeah.
Because we called them baby nappers last week. That's why I was getting
Yep,
confused.
that was so funny when I read that.
That was in this, and I like that because it did turn into some massive philosophical thing, and I absolutely love it, and I test this to the G. I'm gonna just outright attest it to G3PO. But Pax even kind of alludes to the fact that when Qui-Gon's talking about slavery, it really kind of sounds like Qui-Gon's talking about himself and not Rahara or these other slaves. And he even kind of says it to Obi-Wan, you know, it's like, yeah, listen, being a Jedi is a great honor. It is a massive responsibility. It is some huge feat that you would assume it is. But at the end of the day, they didn't choose to be there. You know,
I loved Pax just being like, fuck Jedis. Because I don't really get that attitude. I usually think everyone praises Jedis and like loves them, but he was just kind of like, fuck, let's leave them, you know? So that was new. And also with this Master and Apprentice book, I'm realizing kind of the complexities between the dark side and the Force and how it's almost the same thing with the whole status quo thing where they're just trying to keep order. It's really upsetting because I always thought the dark side or the Sith, they're the ones that, well, they had an empire run on slavery and things like that. But if the Jedi aren't actually, they have done their part, I think, in certain times where they fought against slavery, but not at every chance. But at the same time, when you are complacent, what the fuck is your point? Like, what are you're just...
You're 100%
because, in my opinion, it's
Yep,
because the Sith haven't been around for 1,000 years, so they've had no one to question their rule. So they've just been like, well, the Sith haven't been here for 1,000 years, so there's been no real, like, Omega level threats to, like, talk about,
to
like,
make
X-Men.
moves and take action. Yeah,
so
definitely.
And even then,
why change everything? Because you know what? Sure, there's some atrocities going on to people on these planets, but from a galactic scale, everything's been pretty much safe and tame for a while.
That's the thing.
And I was going to say, we all know, especially those of us that know anything about legends, especially, you know, the Sith Empire fell because of their own hubris. And the fact that they dealt out the Force, you know, to such a degree that it had become so watered down for the dark side at that point that, you know, even in Legends, a few of them start renouncing the titles of Darth and, you know, put everybody on an even play. The Brotherhood, I forget 100% what they called themselves, but the same thing now is going on with the Jedi. They've become complacent. Everything they think essentially goes in their own mind. And to go even further, you know, I don't mean this like, you know, I have anything against Force users or anything, but I mean, look at the temple. It's packed. It's full. You know, the Jedi won. For all intents and purposes, you know, Yoda won. Yoda won that war between the Jedi and the Sith, but in his own mind, you know, he was so corrupted by it, this, that, and the other thing, he couldn't even smell Sheev right under his nose. And let's be real, I can only imagine just the Force juju coming off of Sheev at all times of day or night.
Clouded.
I like
I don't know
how they kind of allude to Sheev eventually taking power because like, oh, Chancellor Cash is looking to retire soon. And I was like, is Palpatine gonna take over? Is he gonna dominate?
Crazy, but hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. We can sit here now and say that.
Yeah, and Yoda did change.
Let's just say right now that
He
had
changed.
Yoda abolished slavery when Qui-Gon asked him to, Anakin Skywalker would have never turned to the dark side because his mom wouldn't have been a slave.
Right.
He wouldn't have got killed by Tusken Raiders. He wouldn't have murdered
That's
all the
one
Tusken
planet
Raiders.
out of 300, right? They're all in the outer rim. It's hard. How big is the galaxy, bro?
We'll
Come
get to
on.
the outer
Well,
rim.
no.
I gotta interject. I think she still would have been killed by Tusken Raiders regardless.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, but it would have been a meaningful death. She would have went out. She would have went out like a warrior, just battling the Tusken
He
Raiders.
wasn't a slave. She was married at that point and loved by her husband.
Was
He
she?
loved her.
Yeah, but we
Was
can't
he
call it.
bought her and married her, so it's like,
But
how was
the
their
thing.
how true was their marriage?
Tatooine's kind of like Russia in that regard.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, he's right.
He couldn't just buy her and like let her go free. He had to like make her his wife.
Hey, it's a
I
price
just-
he pays.
Listen, if I was a slave, I'd marry the guy that wanted to free me too. I'm just saying. I don't know if I'd be in love
Yeah,
with.
I'd say
I don't know,
thank
man,
you.
that's kind of Stockholm syndrome. If we're gonna
That's
go
like a
into that
weird
right now.
dynamic, honestly.
Yeah.
I'd rather be bought as a wife than bought as a slave. I guess it doesn't make sense. Does it?
What?
this is getting hard.
She wasn't like a labor worker. She
No,
was
true,
his
true.
wife.
She was a wife.
Yeah.
But hey, before that, listen, let's be real. The previous slave owner,
What is his name?
somebody
The
in
fly-looking guy.
yeah,
Watto?
Watto.
Yeah.
Well, Watto had acquired the Skywalkers from Gardola the Hutt, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the female hut, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
One of
perfect.
Jabba's aunts or something. Yeah.
My ex-lover. No.
That's my.
Yoda's so random.
Listen, this is an 18+ show, so I got some porn I think you'd be interested in.
What?
This took a turn.
Okay, so getting back
Don't
on
tell
topic.
me it's Luke and
Go
Leia.
I have a
back- go back
question.
to-
Disgusting.
Go back to insulting Yoda.
So I love my Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan does kind of annoy me with his like always having to like be on a stickler for the rules. But Qui-Gon, stop always thinking the worst of Obi-Wan. Like after Rael insults him, when Qui-Gon like confirms the stuff about the treaty that Halen Azuka said was right, instead of being like, oh, instead of Qui-Gon thinking like, oh, Obi-Wan must have found something in that treaty, he was like, oh, Rael's comments really got to him. It's like, no. The dude read. He found out that phrase. I can't find the phrase in the book. I wish I wrote it down. What page it was on? Like the one
I'll
about like
find
the
it.
moon. The
Hold
one
on.
that like makes that Zerka's stuff is permanent into law.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
when he looked it through and he confirmed that phrase, and then also, and this Sierra, I'll go back to you about how it's Rael should take responsibility. He's the regent of the place. How does he not know this phrase and what it means?
Exactly. Thank you. That's all I'm saying. What Qui-Gon's annoying about is he says he's old friends with Rael, like you say, but he clearly doesn't like Rael. But he just uses any opportunity to just get at Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of trying to mend their fucked up relationship, he's just like, he's not being like.
And it's even bigger of a bummer. If you guys remember during the whole sinkhole and log scene, there's one moment where Qui-Gon really kind of realizes, at least in my mind, that he is kind of been fucking up royally with Obi-Wan, and it was the point where Qui-Gon was getting ready to jump in after him, or to jump up to the high ground. But you know, Obi-Wan essentially says, "Master, don't save yourself." And Qui-Gon's all of a sudden like, wow, I'm an asshole, huh? And you know, yes, does part of that relationship dynamic fall on Obi-Wan? Of course it does. Like Colin says all the time, yeah, let's be real. At this point, Obi-Wan is a bootlicker. He's going to follow it down to the letter of the law, regardless of what it leads him down to. Now, as he gets older, in my opinion, he changes.
Mhm.
It becomes a bit more lax.
I think it's Anakin's influence that changes him. Just gonna
I'd
say.
agree 100% with that.
Yeah.
I think it's just a pattern. I mean, look at Qui-Gon. I think even Rael said he used to be kind of by the books, but he's really not. I think. Am I wrong that Rael thought that?
Yeah,
about him?
Rael. He said it was basically like he was like the same thing. He was like timid. He was like a
Yeah,
for the rule and
and
stuff.
I think like through time, you
Dooku
kind
and
of
stuff.
through your experience, you learn more. And I think with Obi-Wan, he definitely changed. Everyone, these prequel books are so amazing because I've only watched the movies, so I'm just like being able to see another side of them or a different time of how they kind of. I don't know.
Got to that
It's
point.
awesome. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
No, I agree with you. Like, I really loved the comic run of Obi-Wan and Anakin, and I read that well before I ended up, you know, really diving into like the novel parts of the new canon. But it's the same thing with this. It's, you know, I love those little points throughout the entire book, not even just these sections we read for this episode in particular, of, you know, them actually bonding and getting along. Because like Sierra said, you know, anytime I see them, my mind immediately jumps to episode 1.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, where they look like they got along very, very well.
yeah, and they're in pretty good synchronicity with one another. And even though, you know, one is more of a spirit of the law as opposed to the letter of the law, you know, they kind of work well with each other as like a yin and yang.
Yeah,
But
like Qui-Gon's relationship with Obi-Wan is reminding me of Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship in the beginning. How he's kind of like, he's not like I'm way more than this. He's keeping me on the basics kind of vibe when he's ranting to Padme, all that stuff. I feel like it's just kind of like a pattern where.
no, I won't disagree with that. Where it kind of seems like there's even with I mean, those of us that have read or listened to the Dooku novel know that, you know, Dooku in his own right, when he was a Padawan, without giving anything away, was his own man. Like even from, you know, being a youngling, he always had his own mind. That Count of Sereno did. But
See, that's what surprises me about Dooku. I don't know much about him, but they say he's so strict and he's so stiff, yet he's nothing like the Jedi. Isn't that weird? Like, what do they mean by that? If he doesn't agree with most of the Jedi code, how is he so strict and stiff? Like
I think it's just his personality. Like he just has that type of personality where he's a strict by the book guy, but he also doesn't.
But is he by the book? No.
And like his own, but not like the Jedi book. Like he's more of like a strict, like.
This is more like his own moral code. I guess.
His own. Yeah. That's what it is, Steve.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say. Is, you know, his philosophy. Yeah, I'm sure some things do flow perfectly fine with the Jedi Order, as opposed to the other side. He also has ideologies that I'm sure flow much better with Sheev than they would with Yoda.
Dooku would have been a better Grand Master than Yoda.
Honestly, I wouldn't disagree with that, because my thing is this, is, you know, maybe had things not turned out the way they did between Dooku and the Order, you know, Dooku was a relatively open-minded guy.
So,
and I do it.
So this is, sorry, Alex, this is what I just wanted to point out. When we talked about that flashback where Dooku was like, look, you're gonna learn about the you're gonna study the prophecies anyways, so you might as well do it with me and I'll teach you the correct way, even though he told them not to study them. There's no way Yoda has that conversation with Qui-Gon. Yoda would have been like, no, you're not studying those.
End of discussion.
Yeah.
No.
Very true.
And truthfully, I'm happy you interrupted me and said that, because that's where I was leading with that, is, you know, Dooku would have been the Grand Master to sit there and say, well, hey, wait, shit, why now, out of nowhere, out of the blue, are all of a sudden all these interstellar star systems seceding from the Senate? The Senate had seemingly for a millennia been going fine, been going good. Like, that's it. We're just going to let them leave. We're not going to try a further negotiation. And yeah, fair. You know, the Jedis were sent for aggressive negotiations in episode 1. But
the Jedi are all about the present. These prophecies are dangerous. I mean, if the Master and Apprentice, Qui-Gon thought that some of the prophecies were about himself, and they actually aren't. They were about Anakin.
Yeah, Qui-Gon's a little bit like, all right, like, dude.
So I'm just saying that's why Yoda would never be like, I'm going to teach you these prophecies, because he trains everyone to just focus on the present. That is, I think, is wrong as well, because you can't just focus on the present. I think a lot of the Jedi code is terrible. Like, as much as you want to ban attachment, as much as you want to ban certain things like that, you feel it. All of them feel it. No matter who it is, their personality, they feel it. They just can't act on it. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's
you can't act on what you actually feel. So, you can't, like, that's not a code to live by. It's like,
no. Hold on, I'm looking for it. I'm not the best at searching things very quickly online, but the Jedi, the actual Jedi code itself, yeah, in theory, it sounds wonderful.
think
You know,
so.
it sounds great. You know, be passive aggressive about everything. Never actually
Sounds horrible.
never
Alex, it
actually
does not
understand
sound
the full
good.
extent of your feelings. Listen,
Imagine being passive
Being
aggressive all the
sarcastic
time.
because I read the Jedi Code and I way
that's
more
what they
relate
are.
to the Sith Code.
But here's the
passion.
thing. I take issue with my all-time favorite Sith is Maul. You know, I make
My
no
all-time
bones
favorite
about
Star Wars
that.
character.
It is Maul, and my biggest reason is because of how they portrayed him in this in the final season of the Clone Wars. You know, he was no longer a Sith. He saw through both sides. You know, me and Colin were talking about this earlier.
I don't know his history, but
Yeah, you're
I
only
love
familiar
the
with
fight
Yoda,
scene.
right?
He's a much more complex character. They flesh him out a lot more.
He
in
says
the
2
spin-off
words like
material.
the Phantom Menace.
Well,
Yeah, so wait, pause on that. Don't spoil it, because I would like to personally get into it, but I can't help but think of the Jedi Code being like Pacino from The Devil's Advocate. And no, I'm not Googling this, so don't, I might misquote, but what is it? Look but don't touch, touch but don't taste, taste but don't feel. Like, that's
Yes,
the
exactly.
Jedi.
It's not. It just.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
and that's like
Listen, hold on. If we're all just dropping on sayings, I just want to drop one that
Hey, I think
never,
the Pacino quote, the best one.
this one has never made sense to me. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Who wants cake if they can't eat it? Give me an amen, Ryan.
Amen.
There we go.
I found the Jedi Code if anyone wants to hear it. But
I was just about to do the same.
Yeah,
Please take it away.
Let's
All
hear
right,
it.
so-
It's terrible.
there is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is the Force.
I got something to say.
Before you
So,
say something.
well, hold on. There is
Okay,
no
go ahead.
chaos, there is harmony. They realize that all those things they're saying work in harmony together. You can't have knowledge without ignorance.
Well, also, there's a lot of death.
Yeah.
I'm just going to point that out.
You can't have peace without emotions. You like all that those things work in harmony with together. So like, how are they saying no chaos? That Jedi Code stinks.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I fought with you guys about how the Jedi are so arrogant. I'm like, how, whatever. But I totally see it now. Even in their code, it's like,
Turn in her.
shut the fuck up. No, I'm still like.
In this regard, the Sith
still
code
love
makes
Yoda.
more sense.
I mean,
Ryan, read
it's
the
almost
code.
like they're kind of putting on rose-tinted glasses and being like, things are great. We're the good guys. We're great. There's harmony. There's no bad stuff here. We're the good guys, and we're in control. Like, it's fine.
and truthfully, to me, you know, it's the people, especially in the Star Wars universe, and people like Yoda, that take that position that, oh, okay, listen, there's a couple bad things going on, but you know, per capita, everybody's super happy, everything's going good. Look how great the Senate is the individual that won't be critical of not only themselves, but the establishment that they are a part of, they work for, that they try to help to progress for the betterment of whomever it is. If you're not willing to be critical of yourself or your own company or your own corporation, or in this part, your own cult, faction of people, you're stifled. You're stifled, and not only you won't grow further in a meaningful, progressive way, you'll backtrack the entire time. And, you know, that's what I really love, that Claudia Gray really showed that part of Yoda. You know, we're not seeing the mythological Yoda who's, you know, screwing with Luke to actually teach him a lesson. And then all of a sudden he's speaking to the Force Ghost and he's like, I can't teach this asshole. This kid got no patience. I can't teach him no more. You know, we're seeing the side of Yoda that truly it's a bummer. Like, listen, let's be real. As much as we're canceling him right now,
Let me just say, Yoda reminds me of parents. Okay, my parents, terrible parents. Great grandparents, okay? It's just like something they learn throughout the years, and they somehow need another generation to. It literally, Yoda reminds you of my parents. It's like you would meet my parents and be like, oh, they are so great. They're so giving. They're so loving. They're so this and that. But it's like, yeah, it took a whole generation of kids to screw up to get there. You know, it's honestly like, I don't know.
No, but
That's
I can understand that. It's like, Yoda had royally effed up so badly to the point that he had, the person that was supposed to bring balance to the Force, which truthfully, in my opinion, Vader did. But, they put so much stock in this one individual that everything else ended up falling by the wayside. And then you couple that with peacekeepers overnight becoming generals.
Mm-hmm.
And not only the masters and the Jedi Knights themselves, but the Padawans. It's just, there always needs to be a little bit of give and take, regardless of what you're doing, what field you're in. Deals in moving things forward are done through the middle road. It's never done from the left barrier or the right barrier. And Yoda has completely and totally encompassed himself on only one side of the road. To the point that I don't care that the temple on Coruscant was built on an ancient Sith shrine. To me, with how much, especially all of us growing up, Yoda was supposed to be paramount to God, more or less. That, he let all this happen. And not only he let this happen, according to Madame Gray, he was fine with it. He's completely complacent in it.
Mm-hmm.
Qui-Gon
I
can't
do
say
think
anything.
that not being challenged by Sith, by the dark
By
side,
anybody.
made that possible. Like, he was very complacent because of that. And then when they started to gain power, and Darth Maul shows up and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Look what happened.
at the time of the Phantom Menace, Yoda's
Okay.
what, a little under 900 years old or 900
He,
years old.
he's like in
Yes.
his
And
850.
And there was
Yeah.
no Sith around, right?
The Sith hadn't been around for 1,000 years.
1,000 years.
So the Sith
exactly.
didn't exist. The Sith weren't around for over 150 years before Yoda was born. So he grew up in a time with no Sith, and then he grew up in and we don't know how long he was a member of the Jedi Order for. We don't know how long he was the Grand Master for. So there was just this probably hundreds of years that he's in the Jedi where they have zero competition. They're just out there as the peacekeeping force of the galaxy, and they are just doing whatever they want, which is nothing. And
yeah,
and given
right.
too that he is virtually peerless, that he is established as the most powerful member of the order, of the council, people are probably intimidated to try and stand up to Yoda and challenge him and really like get him to look inward and consider alternatives and consider alternatives. Like they're probably so intimidated by everything that this little creature has accomplished over the past 850 years that, I don't think Yoda even expects people to challenge him anymore, honestly.
So, group question, Mandalorian Season 2. What do we think we're getting with Baby Yoda?
Whoa, we're going to save that because we're going to do a Mandalorian show.
Just a question.
Right.
This is part of the Cut the Sith cinematic universe.
Yeah. We're gonna whenever
Excited,
they drop.
Though I love
the trailer and the start date for Mando Season 2. We are gonna do a show where we watch either 1 or 2 episodes of Mando Season 1.
Are we gonna get Chris Hardwick in on this too? Talk to Mando.
I hope so. I love Chris Hardwick. And then after, we're gonna go from Season 1 straight into Season 2.
Can I just say, wait, really quick, Chris Hardwick throw in just The Walking Dead. I was looking for a fucking month for my last issue of Walking Dead, which Colin, I asked if I could borrow yours. Finally fucking found it in the basement, covered in some dirt. It's okay though. It's okay.
I think I have 2 copies.
As long as you can still read it, it's cool.
So I also wanted to bring it back to the complacency and I'll go as far as say the general stupidity of not only Yoda, but I'll throw Mace in there. Do not get me started on fucking Ki-Adi Mundi.
I hate that guy
That a-hole.
so much.
See, I need to learn more about the council. Like,
But,
I just
They
don't
sound
know.
like a bunch of assholes.
I mean, look what they did to Sifo Diaz.
I know a
especially
little bit about him.
He essentially
Dooku's best friend, right?
he was for a long time, and long story short, he warned everybody because of force dreams that he would have, that the clone, essentially, that a massive war is coming. And what did they call him? A warmonger. Kicked him off the council, the whole 9 yards. And then at the end of the day, these assholes run around and don't even question where the hey, Yoda didn't even question where the clones came from. Nothing. And then even to go even further, the psychosis of the Jedi, then they find out that Sifo Diaz put behind the production of the clones, and they're just like, oh, okay, cool.
Okay,
I got the
Alex,
warmonger.
that enough ranting. We gotta wrap it up soon.
Okay. I just
So anyone
I
get anything
really want to
last
get
things they
into
wanna
that because
say?
that's crazy. Like,
Look them up. I'm telling you.
Anyone got anything else they want to say before we end this?
Cancel Yoda.
I'm Team Qui-Gon here. Team Qui-Gon. When he and Rael throw down, I'm here for that fight.
Hell yeah, Team
See how
Qui-Gon.
it
can't
goes.
wait.
And Steve sent me the quote, by the way. It's preserved as the sun preserves the moon. So the fact that they let someone from Circa write the treaty, nobody second guessed that someone from Circa wrote the treaty. No one knew what that quote meant. A little messed
Cancel
up.
Rael as well.
Yeah, cancel Rael. All right,
Cancel all of them. Cancel the Jedi.
I'll go into my little outro. We'll stop the recording, and if people have to leave, they can leave. If people want to hear Alex rant more, he'll do it off camera.
I will just add that Dooku was always right.
Oh yeah, Dooku 2020. All right,
We need
anything
a
else?
Dooku shrine for the party then.
Justice for Dooku.
Well, we'll talk about the party in the coming weeks. All right. Anyways, that does it for another episode of Cut the Sith, the Reading Club. Join us in 3 weeks. That's right. It's 3 weeks because I'll be on vacation.
Sure.
As we finish our discussion of Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray with chapters 26 to 38. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment below. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/cutthesith. And we have a new Instagram at instagram.com/cutthesith. Be sure to join our Discord. The link will be in the description so you can stay up to date on all news and discussions. May the Force be with you.